Trouble in paradise for the Commanders, as it looks like the new stadium deal, which seemed like a lock, might actually be in jeopardy of collapsing. Hello everybody, my name is Grant Mitchell and welcome back to the channel. If you are here, then you are most likely a fan of the Washington Commanders. If you're not, you are still welcome, whether you are a concerned DC resident, DMV native, or you're just here because the YouTube algorithms put me in front of you. You're all welcome. And if you are here right now, then what you can do is you can press that little subscribe button right below your screen so that you never miss out when I post upcoming videos. We do talk about the Commanders on this channel an awful lot. I aggregate news, present it to you guys, give you my opinions, but most importantly, ask for your opinions. You know, this is a community, and it's not much of a community if it's just a one-way street here. I want to see comments on this videos. I want to know what you guys think about everything that I'm about to tell you in this video. And as I mentioned at the start, this conversation's not going to be the most exciting considering the promise that this whole stadium rebuild had just even a month ago. So I'm going to be quoting DC Mayor Muriel Bowser. Hope I pronounced her name right. M-U-R-I-E-L. Feel like that should be Muriel. She was talking on the Team 980 with Kevin Sheehan on Tuesday. She was asked to give a rating 1 to 5 on how concerned she was this deal was going to collapse. And here's what she said. Quote, "I'm concerned right now that everybody buckle down and get to work. I'm not concerned about our deal. Our deal is solid. It pays off for DC. And at the end of the day, I think everybody wants the same thing." However, later, when asked about the level of concern, she said, "I would put my level of concern, because when you're a big city mayor, you're concerned about everything. I'll put it at a 4. Whoa. Okay. Let's unpack that a little. I totally understand. Mayors are essentially, any head governmental figure is essentially a project manager. Now, obviously, much bigger responsibilities, right? But you are in charge of a group or an area or a community, and it's your job to oversee everything that goes on within it. Muriel Bowser is the project manager of Washington, D.C. So I can understand her saying, yes, I'm concerned about everything. It's my job to be over-concerned, because if I'm not, then things are going to collapse and it's going to mess up the chain and my approval rating is going to go down and I'm not going to get elected. I get all of it. Totally get all of that. The problem here is the Commanders, as much as everybody appears to be signed off on this stadium and wants it, that does not apply to the DC City Council, who is the roadblock standing between the final barrier and getting the stadium deal over the line. The Commanders need 7 votes of approval from the DC City Council. There are 13 members on board. The Washington Post reported that only 4 support the project. So the Commanders are trying to get those final 3 swing votes to get this deal over the line. Now you might be asking, what are those people concerned about? How could this be a bad thing for DC? There's going to be tax money. There's going to be retail stores, bars, restaurants, entertainment venues that pop up near the stadium. Additionally, the Commanders have promised to invest $89 million into a sportsplex for kids. At least 30% of the campus is going to be covered in greenery, which includes parkland. They're going to invest $2.7 billion of their own money. How could that possibly be a bad thing? What is there to oppose? There are 2 big things that are pointed to by those who are criticizing this proposal for the new stadium. Number 1, it would require $1.1 billion of public investment from DC, which means that locals are, to a certain extent, going to be carrying the burden of supporting this project. Number 2 is the valuable land at the RFK Stadium site, which is where this stadium would go. They would not go back to RFK Stadium, but they would go back to that site. The land would essentially be turned over to the Commanders for free. Or if they work out a lease of some sort, it would most likely be discounted, or it's still a lease. It's not a full purchase. So the maximum value of the property, the actual land, is not going to be received by DC. I also understand those concerns. As someone who wants to see the stadium built, And as someone who is a fan of the team and knows how bad Northwest Stadium / FedEx Field / Jack Kent Cooke Stadium is, and knows how bad it is, of course I want this deal to get over the line. You look at the renderings, and it doesn't even look like Washington, D.C. It looks like some futuristic city. It's partly because, as a DMV native and really close to D.C. native, I know what the city looks like, and I know what the Commanders Stadium has looked like my entire life. These renderings look like some magical playground filled with billions of dollars investment, which that part is true, of course, but it looks like something that is just not fit for the Commanders because the Commanders have been at the bottom for so long, yet in this new era under Josh Harris, everything is turning up good, and that's what this stadium appeared to be. I have another quote here. This is from Commanders Vice President of Real Estate, Andy Van Horn. He said, "We have that window of opportunity to move forward immediately, and we need to do that now. So that's how we think about it." Talking about stadium deal, of course. "If we wait another 6 months, that adds risk to everything, whether you hire somebody later, whether the project goes later. That's all kind of difficult for us to manage." Now, what he's talking about with this whole 6 months thing is there are 2 weeks until the window for exclusive negotiations for the stadium comes to an end. So on July 15th, that window closes. That's an issue because the DC City Council is prepared to have public meetings on July 29th and July 30th. So after that window has already expired. Then the City Council goes on recess from August until mid-September. And I know that Dan Quinn's going to coach the football team. Adam Peters is going to run the front office. And they have separate people like Andy Van Horn here who deal with real estate. But if you're asking me, are the Commanders going to have the 100% mental capacity to handle negotiations for a stadium rebuild while the season is going on? I would say no, just because I don't feel like it's possible. Even though those people have their jobs, I still feel like the attention is going to be split at least 1%. And that means that the longer this deal is not completed, the worse, or the less of a chance there is that it does get over the line. Of course, I'm kind of doing what Mayor Bowser was talking about here. I am talking about the worst case scenario because that's what we have to prepare for. The Commanders wanted to get this stadium opened in 2030. That would be Jaden Daniels' 7th season. It would give them a chance to host the 2031 World Cup, at least some of those matches. And Roger Goodell said that building a new stadium dramatically increases the Commanders' chances of hosting a Super Bowl. But as the window, as negotiations go on, if they're not completed before this window, that all becomes less likely. Now, there is reportedly a plan B, and I want to make sure that I get this right. This is a quote. This is according to Fox 5 Washington, D.C., who had a report on Tuesday that Council Chairman Phil Mendelson caught wind of a proposed Plan B that could be used if the D.C. City Council does not agree to the stadium rebuild. Essentially, this Plan B circumvents the City Council entirely and goes straight to President Trump and members of Congress. I'm not entirely sure what Josh Harris's relationship is with Trump. If I remember correctly, I feel like I've seen them somewhere before together. Not saying they're best friends, but I think they are at least aware of each other. I think they at least have some sort of working relationship. I looked online just in 2 minutes and I didn't find much, but I feel like I have a mental image of that. Trump has not been directly involved in any step of this process. However, once the Commanders announced that they had the plans to bring the stadium back, he did hop on Truth Social and he said this, quote, "I'm thrilled to announce that the Washington football team will be returning to our nation's capital. The new stadium deal is a huge win for Washington, D.C., and for the team's incredible fan base. It will also boost economic development, create more jobs, and hopefully lead to less crime in the area. We are making Washington, D.C. great again, one step at a time." After that, the Commanders put out a statement themselves. They said the Commanders are committed to working with this council around the clock to keep this project on schedule and deliver a world-class stadium for the district by 2030. This is about more than just a stadium. It's an investment in families, local workers, and long-term economic opportunity that will transform this community, district, and the region. So again, it seems like most people are ready to play ball. Aside from that would be the 9 members of the city council who are holding out. And again, they only need to get to 7. So if you break it down and say they need 7, they've already got 4. They're more than halfway. The Commanders are more than halfway to getting the requisite number of votes. Whether they're able to get those next 3 over the couple of weeks and stick to this kind of timeline that they've created or at least hope for, it remains to be seen. And according to Mayor Bowser, with her 4 out of 5 concern, probably actually unlikely to happen. If you're going to ask me what is going to happen here with this deal overall, I still think it's going to get done. I don't know if it will be exactly 2030. I don't know if they will meet that 2-week window for the exclusive negotiations. But when you think back to when this deal actually first got presented, Josh Harris had to get some political votes done in the 11th hour. It wasn't until the final second that they were even in a position to propose this and put it before the city council. So we know that he's a billionaire. He's got money to throw around. He's got political power. It wouldn't surprise me if this is just a big chess game or really a game of chicken between the two sides. But I do trust him. Just like trust everything that's happened with the Commanders right now. Trust the quarterback. Trust the head coach. Trust the general manager. Trust the owner. Everything is going in the right direction. This is politics. Things aren't going to be perfect. But there are going to be snafus, but I still feel like things are moving in the right direction. This is a short video, guys, so I am actually going to head on out of here. But go on down to the comment section. Let me know, what do you think? Do you think that Mayor Bowser is being hyperbolic with her concerns? Do you think that they are warranted? Do you think that the stadium deal gets done? Whatever's on your mind, go to the comment section. Let me know. I'll be responding to everybody. Before you click off this video, if you have made it this far, it probably means that you are a fan of my content, a fan of me, whatever the case may be. Hit the subscribe button so you're always ready and in the know whenever I post my videos. Hit the like button. It helps me out tremendously, and I will catch you all in the next one.